All right, can everyone see the ideal trait screen? Excellent. So perfect. So what we'll be going over today, like I mentioned, is your job ad red flags, right? So when going to create a job, you can go to your jobs tab utilizing your ideal traits account. Awesome. And as you can see, sometimes you do have a couple of expired ones in here. Now that if you are new to Ideal Traits comes with your account, or maybe you just had some previous ads that you were working on, right? But what do you say we go ahead and select the create new, or at least I will on my end, you guys can just follow along. And I really just want to dive into the different red flags that you can see when utilizing your Ideal Traits account. So perfect. Awesome. So now that that's loaded up, the first thing that we have is our position, right? So as you guys know that can be used to help better organize your account internally. But the next one, job category. This is the first thing that we identify our job ad with on the job boards, right? And that's because this entire list is given to us by the job boards. So we do want to make sure that we're trying to keep it as accurate as possible to link those different results, right? The best way that we can. So one that I really like is insurance sales. Now this is good for like CSR roles as well as sales roles. And that's because of the fact that I know sometimes with those CSR roles, typically upselling is going to be a part of that, right? So being able to select insurance sales can be helpful. However, there is also a customer service and a customer service representative job category as well. For today, what I'll do is do insurance sales. So perfect. And again, this is just to help keep it as accurate as possible when posting to those job boards. And as you guys know, if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to chat and I will be happy to go over anything that you guys have to ask. So awesome. And then next up, we have our job type, right? So again, we want to make sure that we're being transparent with the job boards. We have full-time, part-time, either full-time, part-time, super convenient. So because I would be open to hiring, let's say for any position, any help at this point would be helpful. We can do either full-time or part-time. Now with that, you can select a salary. And that brings us into a really good point because how can you differentiate the difference between the either full-time or part-time with that salary, right? And what I would suggest doing is just justifying whichever one you do, right? Inside of that benefit section. So if you do, let's say 50 to 60,000, right? Being able to state either maybe even in the job description as well, that full-time workers can expect to make X amount a year, right? Or if there's a range, you can say like what your top full-time producer makes or what your full-time customer service representative makes, right? So being able to put that there. Excellent. So next up, we have our remote location. Now, between the no and fully remote, one thing I would suggest is that if you are looking to hire remotely in your area, I would only suggest keeping that to no and adding into the benefit description as to if you have any work from home possibilities, right? And work from home specifically, because I know like sometimes the job boards might tag it as being quote remote and advertise it that way. So if you run into that issue, just let us know. We can work on some wording and being able to help you out with that. But excellent. Another topic that I did want to also talk about with that salary and the range, because I'll go ahead and fill this out. We'll do 30, say to 60,000, right? And one thing we want to be sure that we're doing is only keeping this number about $20,000 apart. And this is so that way they can have a reasonable expectation. I know I'd previously mentioned about including it inside of the job description, right? So even including it in here or in the benefit section about what your top performer can expect to make. So what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and change this to 50 to be within that range. And then as you can see here, I'll go ahead and select per year. Awesome. And then next, what we can do is our job location. Now, why is job location important when going through this, right? And what I will say is that number one, we want to be accurate, right, when creating that job ad. As well as if you do hire remote, they will still ask that you can verify a physical address on file. Now with IdealTraits, you are allowed to post up to five different job ads, right, for your one location. So making sure that this is the one location that you have within your IdealTraits account is going to be very important, right? So making sure that that's correct and accurate so that way candidates can verify. Well, awesome. So next up is going to be your job title. Now, there are a couple of different topics that I wanted to touch base on in here. And for example, we want to stay away from crazy titles, right? Now, that can include like a sales ninja, sales rock star, sales, even producer, right? And now you might be saying, like, Monica, like, why producer, right? Like, that's a pretty common term. And what I will say is that if you're looking for someone that might be looking to break into the industry, right? I would definitely suggest sticking to keywords like insurance sales, insurance customer service, keeping that word insurance in there for sure. So that way they can easily navigate to those opportunities, right? But the producer isn't used as frequently as you might think by individuals that are going to the job boards. Now, maybe in your day to day role, definitely. But in regards to what we're getting back from the job boards, not so much there. So that's why I had mentioned um, staying away from using that producer. And another example is agent, right? Sales agent. That could definitely come across as more of a business opportunity compared to a job opportunity. So another example of that is if looking to hire for a protege program, right? I know some farmers agents, for example, have that option. So ads that specifically say that it's a protege option, right, won't do so well because, again, that's a business opportunity compared to a job opportunity. And just the way that it's perceived by the job boards, we want to stay away from that. But what you could do is you could always add in to your job benefits that there is potential for ownership, agency ownership in the future, if that's something that they are interested in, right? And being able to set up the interview for success that way. Like, are you aware of this opportunity, right? Being able to talk through that. Um, what can't you have partial remote? That should be an option. So with the partially remote option, right, this is just how it's going out onto the job board. So if it is going to be remote in any capacity, right, that's where you could post fully remote. Whereas, again, if they have to be in your area, but you offer like that work from home flexibility, that's why I mentioned putting it into the benefits section and being able to state it there so they still are aware of your opportunity. But great question, Joe. Excellent. So back to the job title, I just wanted to make sure to address that one. um, so like I mentioned, staying away from things like protege, agent, producer, right? Keywords like that. And again, sticking to keywords that they would search: insurance sales, insurance representative, insurance account manager, right? Different terminology like that. That would help Indeed's AI system link the two. Perfect. Awesome. So for today, do insurance sales representative. Excellent. So next up, in your job description. Now you might be thinking, how could I possibly have a red flag in here, right? And surprisingly, it's about maybe not having enough information here, right? And a great example of that is not really showcasing what a candidate can expect in their day-to-day life here, right? Now, we want to make sure that we're painting a picture for them and really giving them a good idea as to what they can expect when embarking on this new career path, right? Or maybe continuing on with it, right? If they do have the previous experience. So being able to really set yourself up for success there in going over what internal personality traits or things of that nature must they have, and really conveying that throughout your job ad. Now, that starts with the job description, but again, being able to put that into your responsibilities and even the requirements as well. So, for example, I know I'm not too sure if anyone was here for our hard skills versus soft skills webinar, but we really went over showcasing that throughout, right? So for example, do you want someone that has more personality traits like being outgoing, friendly, competitive, right? If so, we definitely want to be sure to add that in. Now, we do have these templates that we have, right, which is super convenient. But what's really neat about it is that you can also add in information about your agency. So for example, the Monica D agency is looking for a go-getter who is dependable and competitive. We love spell check, and so we'll go ahead and fix that. And again, where I mentioned about being able to add in, if you do, like, for example, the full-time versus part-time, as you can see, it states that it's base salary plus commission. We'll want to be sure to include that into the benefit section as well, but really showcasing that opportunity and, again, painting that picture for them as to what you want, right? Creating that job ad around that candidate compared to around the job itself, right? Like if you could describe that one person that you want in that desk, being able to convey that within your job ad. Excellent. So now that we have that job description, we'll go ahead and go down to the responsibilities. And again, we have templates that you can utilize or you can type in your own. But what is their day going to be like, right? Going over that, we want to make sure that we're not selecting all of them, maybe about 5 to 7. Some of them can be a bit redundant, so we just want to be sure to avoid that. So we'll go ahead and put in our few. And again, you can even add in before too. And then same thing with the requirements. Be a fantastic presenter. Again, having those soft skills be shown within those requirements as well, I think is super important, as well as hard skills like, for example, a license. Now, what I will say is that if you do have any open opportunities for any training or anything of that nature, right, be sure that that's also stated, right? What really makes your ad stand out from the hundreds of others that are currently out there that you're competing with, right? Being able to dial in and convey those throughout your ad. We'll actually go ahead and bold and underline this as well. And then your benefits section. Now, this one I will say, please add as many as you have, right? When candidates are comparing different job opportunities, they typically only spend about 14 seconds looking at an ad just to see if they're interested, right? So what I will say is that we want to make sure that we have our benefits listed there properly and that salary to engage with them, as well as a catching job description. Looking for chance to break into the insurance industry. Great. Again, something that'll catch out, really engage with them. And as you can see, we have our benefits listed here. This, where I had mentioned before, work from home flexibility. As well as perfect. And again, being able to show those benefits there. You can even go through, let's say if you have some that you know that really stand out, go through, highlight those, underline them. Lots of great stuff, right? Creating that job ad that is now going to be attracted to candidates. So that is really all I have for today. I'll go ahead and take a look at any other questions that you guys have or anything that you really want to dive deeper about avoiding these red flags and just creating an effective job ad from the get-go. But thank you guys so much for joining. Like I said, I'll go ahead and take a look, answer any questions that we have, and kind of being able to go from there. And thank you guys so much for dealing with the issues this earlier today with the lack there of camera. What I will say is that we do have one coming up next Wednesday as well. I will be putting that on. I will make sure that my camera is working for that one. I just didn't want to leave you guys hanging for too long. But I will be going over recognizing areas of opportunity in low assessment scores. So if that is something that you would like to get registered for, I would be more than happy to share that link with you. 1 second. Registration page. That for next Wednesday. And that is right here. Perfect. Awesome. So that link is right there for you guys as well. And again, going over that low assessment scores and being able to understand that low numbers aren't the end of the world and they actually help better shape us. So a lot of great topics for next week too. But awesome. If there's no other questions, I will go ahead and end this today. And again, thank you guys so much for joining, getting some more information, growing in on your hiring journey. If you do have any questions, feel free to chat us or schedule a call with us, and I will gladly help out in any way that I can. And wishing you guys a happy Wednesday and an even better rest of your week. So take care.